Hey, thanks for coming back to the channel. I have a bunch more stories that were sent in by subscribers to read today, so thank you to everybody who wrote in. I've been avoiding building in this area because I haven't had any ideas for it, but I think I finally have something that I want to build here, so today I'm going to work on that while I read these stories. Let's go ahead and read the first email. Alright, this first story is titled, College Roommate Has a Crush on Me and I Don't Know What to Do. I'm an 18-year-old guy, and me and my two roommates moved into our college dorms recently, and it's been about 2 weeks, and everything's been going fine. My other roommate, who's a 19-year-old guy, texted me during my art class saying that he had a question, and he said that he wanted to say it in real life. I thought nothing of it, and I went back to my dorm. I got there, and a few minutes later he shows up, and basically he mentions how we're both bisexual, and asks if anything can come from it. Now this came out of nowhere, and I was super thrown off. I obviously declined, not feeling the same way at all. I don't really want to be in a relationship at the moment anyway. It's a few hours later, and I'm still conflicted on what to do. I've told a few friends, and one said to tell my RA, resident advisor, and one said to wait a few days and see how I feel. I just don't know what to do because I don't want to live with someone who has feelings for me if I don't feel the same way about them. Also, this guy is very nice about it, so that conflicts my feelings even more. But I also don't want to move all my stuff again. I think you gotta do whatever makes you feel the most comfortable here. If you're not comfortable living with someone who's attracted to you or has a crush on you, then you don't have to. You can change your living situation. I think for me, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. As long as he understands the boundaries and how I feel, I don't really think that would be an issue for me. I think I could continue living there and have things be amicable. But I totally understand the way you feel about it, and you're completely valid. That being said, he did ask the question in a really weird, like he just fired off that question out of nowhere. He wasn't even like, hey, I've got a crush on you. He was like, hey, so what's gonna happen between us? It's definitely odd, but you know what? I kind of respect his gusto. I don't know. I guess if I were you, I would continue living there for the time being, and if he's weird about it again, then I'd consider moving out. But if things go back to normal and things are as they were, then no reason to leave. Anyways, thanks for writing in. Let me know how it goes and what you decide to do. Let's get on to the next story. Okay, this next story is actually an update from a subscriber whose story I read in a previous video. It's the second story in this video. I'll put it in the description. I wasn't sure if I should reread the entire first email. I just decided that I'm going to give you a quick summary right here. Our subscriber is 19 and female, and her boyfriend is 19 as well. She and her boyfriend were going through a bit of a rough patch, so they decided to take a break from dating while she went on a trip to Europe. While she was there, she met a guy and hooked up with him throughout the trip. Then her boyfriend called her while she was still in Europe, and they made up and decided to get back together. But then she hooked up with the other guy one last time before coming home. So in her first email, she was kind of deliberating on whether or not she should come clean to her boyfriend and tell him that she cheated on him. The first email was sent back in July. This update was sent just a few days ago. Here's what she said. Hi, sorry, it took me a few months to update. I originally wasn't going to, but after I watched your video, I felt like I should. A few days after I sent that email, I decided to tell my boyfriend everything and be open with him. He said that he understood and how it hurt him, but he confessed that he had been messaging girls on social media with the same intentions, but had stopped whenever I got back. It was a long and painful night for both of us and a lot of tears. We went on another break to give ourselves some time away to think about how we want to navigate things because we both have a lot of love for each other. After 2 weeks of not seeing each other, texting, or communicating, we decided that we wanted to stay together and try to move forward. And honestly, it was great. We had started taking online couples therapy sessions and haven't argued since. We were looking at apartments mainly because he's still living with his parents and my roommate dorm situation wasn't great, but also because we genuinely wanted to be together more. About mid to late August, we went on a drive at night, which wasn't uncommon for us. He had his phone connected to the car playing music, meaning that you could see his apps and notifications on the CarPlay screen. Everything was fine until he had gotten a notification from some girl's name that I hadn't recognized. I don't mind him having female friends, but he's never mentioned this person to me before, and I didn't know who she was, so it felt pretty weird. The notification didn't show what the girl had said, just that she had sent something. So I didn't blow up or anything, I just ignored it. And he did as well. But then she started texting more and more often, to the point where he was getting multiple notifications back to back. So obviously I had to ask, who is this? He said it was somebody that he knew from our high school. Then he unconnected his phone and we listened to the radio after that. We didn't talk about it the rest of the night, but when we got back to his parents' house, he instantly fell asleep and was still getting notifications from her. But since it was his phone, I could actually see what she was sending through these notifications and my uneasiness was right. I don't know the exact details of anything that happened between them, but in the messages she was saying stuff like, "Am I just another one-night stand to you? We have something, why won't you respond to me?" Instead of making a scene with him, especially while his parents were there, I just left and went home. I told him we were breaking up the next morning. He had a lot of strongly worded things to say and was blowing up my phone with a mixture of just being mean or begging to have me back, but eventually he gave up and we haven't talked since. I guess what I'm conflicted with is, should I have given him another chance? I understand that it can be hypocritical given that I've done the same to him, but it just felt like everything we'd talked about leading up to this was all wasted. Like, what was the point of paying for all these therapy meetings if he was just going to do it again? We both had talked about how we would never do anything like that to each other ever again, but he went and did it, and I just don't know what to think. Once again, I'm sorry for the poor writing. I'm driving again. To stop driving and emailing me. You deserve credit for coming clean after that first email and admitting what you had done wrong. I'm sorry that this is the way that it ended up. If I were in your shoes here, I would just stay broken up. For me, it would just be too hard to ever get that trust back. He was definitely pretty understanding to get back together with you initially after you cheated. Honestly, though, probably because he felt guilty and for thinking about cheating himself. But I mean, I don't think that's a reason to get back together. And when both people in a relationship have struggled to be loyal, like, not to make an obvious point here, but that's an issue. This one was just a mess, though. I'm glad that you updated. I'm glad it's over. And I hope that you guys can both move on with your lives independently and not cheat on each other anymore. Hey, I'm editing right now, and I just wanted to interject really quickly. This next story deals with a creepy older teacher and a student. If you don't like to hear that kind of thing, I just wanted to warn you really quick. You can skip ahead to the next story. I always don't know whether or not I should read these stories that are a bit more serious, but I feel like this one is a good cautionary tale. Am I the asshole for reporting my teacher? Please give me advice. I'm a 17-year-old girl. I'm turning 18 next year, and I'm in my senior year of high school. I go to a really small school, so it's not weird for students and teachers to talk or be close. Before summer started last year, this teacher, he's 45 and male, this teacher and I started talking at a random encounter. He's nice and started talking to me about stocks and adult life. We found out we have a lot in common and started sharing music. At the senior's graduation, we talked more, and he gave me his number so we could play Fortnite together. He's done this with many other students, so it wasn't odd in my opinion. After that, he asked me to babysit his 13-year-old daughter. I agreed because he said he paid well. Through babysitting, we talked a lot more, with him texting me many times a week just to ask about my day, etc. Though, in many ways, he was treating me more like a friend than a student. He's really laid back and has no filter, so when he started bringing up the hotness of characters, I wasn't too shocked. I was a bit uncomfortable, but I let it slide. More stuff like this went on, where he was casually mentioning sex and hotness. I kept babysitting for him, and things got more uncomfortable with him asking about my love life, telling me about his, etc. At one point, he was calling me a cool chick, saying that he would love for his friends to meet me. He's a poker player, so the last thing that happened before he got reported was saying that he was going to take me out to play poker with him. I know it sounds weird, but I did want to go, but my friend reported it after I told her because the place was 1 hour away. It all happened so fast, and my teacher was genuinely a nice guy. Everybody keeps telling me that my teacher was trying to sleep with me, especially because he kept telling me to keep everything a secret. Yeah, oh god. Oh my god. But I can understand why, as a teacher, he would prefer to keep his life private from other students. He also kept telling me how much he trusted me, which I feel bad for breaking because he was very nice to me. He did many nice things for me, and I feel like such a backstabber for getting him in trouble. I never saw any direct signs that he was trying to sleep with me. Like I had said before, he's just a yapper and asks and talks about everything. In a way, I feel like he was trying to be a mentor to me, especially with the poker thing. He's a really kind man, and I feel like an asshole for reporting and potentially ruining this kind person's life. Sure, some things were odd, but I don't feel like he had any malicious intentions at all. I don't know, am I the asshole for getting him in trouble? Never talk to this creep again. Block his ass on everything. Your friend absolutely did the right thing by reporting him. You need to stay away from this guy. The story just genuinely grosses me out. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. It's not your fault for not seeing the signs that this guy's a complete creep. He was being incredibly manipulative and abusing his power. But, I want to make sure that I get across that you need to, watch out in the future for people like this. Teachers are not paid to be your friend. They're paid to teach you. And this guy is 45. He knows that he shouldn't be hanging out with a 17-year-old. That's gross, and he needs to never go near a school again forever. I'm really glad that you and your friend decided to report him. I really hope that the administration in your school fires him. and you never need to see him again. Having a good teacher is really important, and they can be a mentor for you, but that's a completely different relationship than having a friend. A mentor helps guide you in decision making for the future, but doesn't discuss things like your sex life. Like this guy was talking about your sex life with you. That's insane and absolutely off limits for a teacher to be doing. Like, what is he doing inviting you to a poker night with his friends an hour away? Your friend is absolutely correct. That is a huge red flag. This story baffles me. Okay, I think I'm done crashing out about this story. You should absolutely not feel guilty for reporting this teacher. You and your friend did the right thing. Don't feel like you stabbed him in the back or anything like that. He's an adult and he knows that he was crossing a boundary in his relationship with you, and he needs to be punished for that. All right, let's read another story. I should maybe mention that what I'm building here today is a aqueduct, like a Roman style aqueduct, or at least what I'm trying to build. I don't know, I saw some people building these in Minecraft and like thought that I would try my hand at it. I've just been Googling pictures of Roman aqueducts and I think they look really cool. So I'm just building one, even if it doesn't like necessarily fit in this area. Okay, how does that look? That looks wrong. Did I build this one block off? Am I like several blocks? I built this wrong. Oh my God. I have to replace so many blocks. No. Okay, this next subscriber titled their email, "I can't stop sabotaging my relationship and I'm worried." For context, I'm 18 and my boyfriend is 18. This happens to be the first relationship for both of us. We've also currently been long distance for about 3/4 of our 10-month relationship. I don't want to toot my own horn, but low-key I kind of feel like we have the healthiest relationship in my entire high school. As of right now, I'm a senior and my boyfriend just joined freshman year of college, which is why we're long distance in the first place. With this being my first relationship, it pushed me into learning a lot of things about myself that I hadn't known previously. That happens to be the fact that I have a pretty bad anxious attachment style. I know I literally just said that we're in a healthy relationship, but I think it still holds true. Like all relationships, we obviously argue and resolve it and end up moving forward while communicating. Most of these arguments end up because of me and because of my anxiousness. I generally overthink things, come to assumptions, and make up the conclusion that A, he doesn't like me anymore, B, wants nothing to do with me, or C, found someone else. Which is nowhere near the truth, but it just keeps popping up into my mind. Our relationship wasn't perfect by any means, especially in the beginning. He rejected me because he wasn't over a girl who he had loved for about 2 years, but was then rejected by. And I knew about this pretty well going into it. He's still amicable with her, which I don't mind. I don't want to restrict him from having his own friends. But sometimes I get jealous and then anxious. We had an argument about him spending time with her on the phone for hours, when he hadn't done that with me in a while. To which he told me kind of directly that it's not wrong and that I'm anxiously attached and I need to get over it. He's right. His family's really strict, so calling is really tough. He's from a conservative family. And they already know her, so it's not that hard to explain when she calls. She was also going through something and wanted someone to talk to. I know that I'm being unreasonable, but I can't stop feeling the way that I do. I keep thinking about her, about how in the beginning of our relationship he had settled for me because I cared about him, even though I wasn't the girl that he prioritized. I only know this because I was nosy and I snooped through his texts with her and found out. This had been a long time before our relationship, but it still definitely hurt. But now with the way that he acts and the way his best friends talk about him to me, he's genuinely changed how he feels and he's made me his #1 priority. But those thoughts, man, they keep coming back, especially during the worst periods of my anxiety, even though during these moments he reassures me, tells me he loves me and that he'll never leave. He told me that sometimes it hurts him when I say some of the things that I say during these periods of anxiety, because it makes him feel like he's made me feel unsafe, even though he's supposed to be the person that I can depend on. That really made me feel bad because I never thought about it that way. And I've been analyzing myself and I've come to realize that I have pretty bad anxiety and insecurities that stemmed from my childhood. I'm worried that the longer I keep entertaining them or not finding a way to heal them, I'll sabotage this relationship and hurt him. I love him, and I genuinely don't want to ruin something so sweet that has genuinely helped me for the better. But I don't know where to start and how. How can I stop being jealous about that girl? How can I stop overthinking? I've got a lot of thoughts about that email, but this subscriber actually sent through an update just a day later after that initial email. So let me go ahead and read that really quick. This is sort of an update. We fought again last night. I told his best friend the things that I've been feeling, and he was really sweet about it, telling me that it's not my fault that I'm anxious. He told me that he'd talked to my boyfriend about our fight, and he did. My boyfriend told him that it's just become an obsession for me, and that when he goes away, I spam text him. He said it wasn't wrong, but he felt guilty that I was putting so much energy into him instead of things that would be important to me, and he didn't want me to get hurt in the end. I feel depressed. I haven't texted him since after the fight because I just feel too bad. I do ruin things, and I think I've ruined us. I'm sorry. I don't think you ruined your relationship, and I don't think you need to feel guilty for feeling anxious. You already know this, but unfortunately, the more you question your partner's actions, the more you can push them away. It's just a cycle where you get more anxious about him talking to his friend, and then he talks to her more, and then you get more anxiety. Hopefully, there are some anxious overthinkers in the comments that can weigh in and help out. I just think you need to talk to him and sincerely apologize for not fully trusting him, and then move forward really working on having more faith in him. I harp on this a lot, but you have to trust the person that you're with. I know after listening to some of the stories that I'm reading today, it might be hard to trust people, but if you want a successful and long-lasting relationship, you got to trust them. But I'm totally a self-sabotager as well. This is one of those things where you feel like you don't deserve the good things that you have. I do it all the time. It's like, oh, things are finally going my way. Time to burn it all to the ground. It sounds like you have a solid boyfriend who just happens to have a female friend. And sometimes a good thing is just a good thing. And learning that you deserve good things is like a weirdly hard thing to accept. Frankly, that's still something I'm working on, so you and I have that in common. But thanks for writing in. Talk to your boyfriend. It's going to be okay. And read some comments. I'm sure there are other people that feel the exact same way. Okay, let's go read another one. Okay, this next subscriber titled their email, Roommate from Hell. All right, we got another roommate situation here. I've been getting a lot of roommate emails, like roommate emails, early college situations. I guess it's just because people's first semesters just started up recently, so there's a lot of drama surrounding that. Okay, here's what they wrote. I posted this on Reddit as well, just sending this in because I thought it'd be satisfying to listen to you laugh at my roommate with me. My new college roommate and I hate each other. I'm a new freshman in college for the first time, and I'm hours away from my family, friends, and boyfriend. I only really have 2 friends here. I don't go to parties, don't drink or smoke or anything like that. All I've got is my dorm room to call comfortable. My roommate, I'll call her Deb. Anyways, Deb started off cool and chill. Before the semester began, she said that she'd be buying a snack cart, fan for the room, and mini fridge for both of us to share. When we got there, everything was cool. We were communicating fine. She said I could use her step stool, fridge, etc. And when I would use those things, I used them really neatly. Sometimes I'd turn her sickeningly bright lights off and turn her fan on when I come back from class, since I know it turns on after a couple hours and Deb likes the cold air in the room. One of our first nights there, she invited me to go to a frat party she was going to. I politely declined, and I told my boyfriend about it. His boyfriend's senses went off and said that was weird. I agreed, but thought it wasn't anything to make a big stink about. He disliked her greatly from there on, though, to the point where it became an inside joke for him to grumble about her every time he heard her come into the room when we called. Also, I like drawing, and I drew pictures to hang on our door for people to pass by and see. Those pictures are important to me. The real shit didn't start until we were like 2 weeks into the semester. It was her birthday and she was turning 18. Cool. She asked me if it was okay if I left the room for a few hours so she and her friends could party before I got back to the room at around 11 p.m. After that, they were going to leave and go to a party. It was totally fine with me, and I agreed. I went to the gaming lounge in our dorm for a couple hours to chill. When I got back to the room, there was trash everywhere. Bottles, boxes, papers, and some of it was on my desk, my chair, and my bed. Even their chargers and belongings were on my bed. And my Bluetooth speaker was left turned on, too. My drawings had been taken down off the door to make room for Deb's birthday decorations. I was so pissed. I didn't think to take any pictures of the mess, and just pushed the trash to Deb's side of the room. The next day, I timidly brought it up to her like, hey, is it okay if next time you have your friends over, they don't leave trash on my side of the room? She just said, oh, sorry, I didn't know they did that. And that was that. I didn't bother mentioning how disrespectful I thought it was. I also told her about how my drawings had been stolen, and she didn't care. The next day I was locked out of the room because I went to call my boyfriend in the gaming lounge while Deb was in the room. My phone was about to die, and when I went back to the room, it was locked. I texted her, and she said that she wasn't there and wouldn't be back. A few days later, another incident happened. I got out of class for the day, and Deb asked me if she could have a friend over for that night, and if they could sleep over. She asked me day of. I told her sure, no problem, but after some thinking, I added, just make sure there's no trash on my side of the room and don't use my speaker. She exploded with a wall of text, calling me rude and inconsiderate, telling me that she already apologized for what happened, and telling me that she shouldn't even need to be asking me for bringing a friend over to her room that she pays for. She also brought up not making a big deal about my boyfriend coming over a few weeks from then, which, question mark, who the fuck brought him into this? She also brought up how I always touch her things, like turning off her light that's brighter than the sun, turning her fan back on her behalf, using a step stool that I put back in the same spot every time, using her mini fridge, using her snack cart, using her glue dots. I responded saying that I was not being rude and that I don't care if she brings someone over. And I asked her why she would even ask me in the first place if she could bring a friend over if her answer was just going to be that it didn't matter. I backed off completely though. I don't use any of her things that she bought anymore. The next incident was my fault, which I apologize for, but basically I stayed up late calling my friends, and Deb was obviously trying to sleep. That was completely shitty on my part. I should have went to the gaming lounge. Her response though, play Taylor Swift and country music on her phone speaker at the highest volume setting, all night long. Eventually an RA knocked on our door and told us to turn the noise down. I tried to tell Deb to turn it down, but she pretended not to hear me. The next day she told me how rude and inconsiderate I was being and texted me all day while she was working. I apologized and said if I ever needed to call anyone again, I'd go to the gaming lounge. She suggested that I move out because she doesn't want us to, quote, hate each other. I was shocked she told me to just move out. And the real kicker is that she lives 45 minutes away, has a car on campus with her, and has a job and her own damn money. And she's telling me to move out? There was another incident where I brought up again that I felt disrespected about her friend stealing my art and leaving shit on my side of the room. And she told me, I quote, I'm done talking about this. I already apologized and I'm sick of you throwing it in my face. Ah, so she's the one who decides when I get to bring it up and what she's upset about. Got it. Ever since we haven't spoken or texted. Probably because I'm so horrible. I leave when she sleeps, I leave her stuff alone, and I keep to myself. I'm horrible, I know. Last night she kept her lights on from 12 p.m. to 3 a.m., and I couldn't sleep. She came back shortly after 3, drunk, talking loudly on the phone, and started talking shit about me as I was in the room. I was on a call with my boyfriend at the time, so he heard her too. After I was fed up with listening to her recall the party from last night, I got up, grabbed my phone, and said to my boyfriend, "Are you awake? I hope you didn't hear all that, haha," and went to the bathroom. When I got back in the room, she was gone. But yeah, we haven't spoken since a few weeks ago. But I'm already planning to become an RA for next semester and get the hell away from her. I'm wondering, am I the asshole? I don't think you're the asshole here. You're definitely not free from guilt either, though. Like, both of you are doing things that bother each other. But I completely agree. She's being unreasonable. Leaving her trash on your bed and tearing down your pictures is wild and would drive me up the wall as well. But you guys just don't get along, and that's all right as long as you stop retaliating against each other. It's gonna be hard, but just like coexist in the same space. Something you realize later into your first year is that you don't need to be friends with your college roommate. Sometimes you just get lucky and you're placed with somebody that you get along with, but most of the time it doesn't work out like that. I super relate to you because my first year in college, my roommate would stay up until 2 a.m. playing League of Legends every single night. It actually drove me insane. I had to listen to this kid call for ganks for a full year, and then I just never spoke to him again. And life went on. I completely agree though. It's crazy that she's asking you to move out. Like, if she wants out, she can leave. But that being said, if it actually is an unlivable situation for you, I'm certain that there are people you can talk to at the school that can get you moved to another room. Administrators deal with this stuff all the time. This is the consequences of placing people together randomly. One of the things that you mentioned was that she invited you to a frat party in the first couple days, and you and your boyfriend thought that was kind of strange. I actually think that she was just being nice and including you in her plans for the evening. That to me doesn't set off any red flags, but I don't know, I wasn't there. I think your plan to become an RA next semester to get away from her is a good one, and you should do that. Help, I might be a narcissist. Okay, this subscriber wrote, I'm male, 17, and my father is a narcissist. He cheated on my mom, did drugs, and was in jail for long periods of time. Normal narcissistic activities. He also has bipolar disorder, which, in a nutshell, he can change from positive to negative or the other way around almost instantly. You can pass down mental illness and challenges to your kids, and I've seen signs of bipolar in myself, but I'm having trouble debating if I'm narcissistic. I don't know where to go to get support about this, so I decided to share my deepest secrets with a YouTuber. But I'm desperate. One reason I'm curious if I have narcissism is because of girls. I've been through some intense stuff. I won't get directly into it, but so is my dad. He used to deal with his trauma with drugs, but then went to rehab and became sober. So instead he dealt with his trauma with women, and I think I'm falling into that same pattern. I'm in a long-distance relationship with my girlfriend, and it's just been boring. And to be honest, I get a lot of attention from the other girls that I know, and sometimes I consider cheating. I know it's bad, and I haven't done it yet, which to me doesn't seem narcissistic to have restraint, and I'm starting to feel like it's more my nature than a bad thought, because every relationship that I go into ends up with these feelings, and I always end up feeling guilty for this, which doesn't seem narcissistic to me either. I'm just wondering what I should do to stop thinking like this, and if you think I'm a narcissist. This is one of those stories that I just should not be talking about because I know nothing about psychology. This is just so much better sorted out by a mental health professional, which I would recommend you talk to. And I'm just not the guy for this, so I won't say much, but I don't know if you're a narcissist or not. But if every relationship you get into, you think about cheating and focus on getting attention from other women, then you're just not ready for a relationship. You may be a narcissist, or you may just be like a 17-year-old guy that has a bunch of growing up to do. 17-year-old dudes have narcissistic and selfish thoughts all the time. And part of getting older is learning to ignore those thoughts. And I mean, not to get super personal here, but I mean, if you think your dad's a narcissist, then use him and his actions as an example of what not to be and do. You don't have to be your dad. And you're being thoughtful about this problem. And honestly, awareness of the problem at all is, I think, the first step in becoming a better person. But yeah, if you're bored by your girlfriend and think about cheating on her, don't stay in that relationship. That is narcissistic. I usually don't make huge builds, or at least like huge realistic builds, so I'm getting a little bit out of my comfort zone today. I don't hate this so far. I think it actually kind of fits into the area kind of well. I'm like a little bit regretting my choice of blocks because it blends in, but it doesn't look bad. This next subscriber titled their email, "I feel like I'm stuck." Hey, I've never really done anything like this before, so I apologize if I sound a bit rambly or weird. It's fine. It's all good, man. I'm a 25-year-old guy, and my girlfriend is 23. We've been dating for almost 2 years, and she's my first relationship that I've had that's lasted for more than 9 months. For some background, she grew up in the foster system. I did not. She's been living in my one-bedroom apartment with me for at least a year now, and she's been unemployed for most of that time. In the beginning, I told her she didn't need to worry about having a job because I felt confident that I could pay for everything myself. I like to try to be as financially as independent as I can be. But a few months ago, I told her that I can't sustain both of us with just my money alone. She's had 4 different jobs while being with me, and she's been fired for missing work from 3 of those jobs. She currently has a job that doesn't pay well, so she's looking into other options while she's still working at her current job. At the end of last month, I gave her an ultimatum that she needs to at least have an interview lined up by the end of this month, or she has to move out, and she agreed. I also recently found out that I'm bisexual. Left turn. I also recently found out that I'm bisexual. She is as well. And I'm wondering if being with her is even feasible at this point. She's never really given me any reason to think that she's cheated on me, but part of me is kind of wanting her to so that I'd have a valid reason for breaking up with her. It sucks because I really do love her and I care about her. We've talked about what we'd want for our wedding and potential kids. I was really looking forward to that, but now I just don't know. Part of me wants to stay with her, another thinks that she won't change, and another wants to explore my newfound sexuality. And the rest of me just dreads being single again. I hate the dating scene. I've got a lot of thoughts on this email. One in particular being that, like, if you're hoping that your girlfriend will cheat on you so that you have a valid reason to break up with her, like maybe it's time to just break up with her. But this email was actually sent back in August and I missed it in the inbox. And this subscriber recently, just a couple days ago, sent an update. So let me go ahead and read that update really quick and then we can come back. Okay, here's what he wrote for the update just a couple days ago. I just broke up with her 15 minutes ago. She's still sitting on her bed in my apartment and somehow I'm the one feeling confused. I just got back from a week-long vacation in Florida with some friends, and I'd been trying to figure out how I was going to break it off with her. I didn't know if she was going to start crying, if she was going to be mad, or whatever else, but she just had no reaction. I told her that we were done, and in the most deadpan, matter-of-fact, accepting tone, she just said, "All right." I was just absolutely bamboozled, to be honest. I tried talking to her about why she seems like she doesn't care that I'm breaking up with her after about almost 2 years, and she said something about how she's kind of expected it and how I deserve someone better. I'm starting to think that maybe she wanted me to break up with her, and that really she was just with me because it was convenient and it gave her a place to stay. This whole situation just sucks, and I'm sorry, breaking up is never easy. I think you did a really hard thing. It's not easy to break up with someone when you're living together, and especially if your finances are intertwined the way yours were. I do, though, feel really bad for your ex. It sounds like she was in a really tough spot, and I just hope that she has somebody that she can go live with, or you're not just like outright kicking her out on the street. But you totally did the right thing by giving her a heads up that you couldn't continue to support her, and gave her a few months to make a change, and then when things didn't, you decided to end things. The strain that finances put on a relationship is just like a level of complication that always sucks to have to think about. Like in this situation, both of you are stressed out for the same reason. You're trying to support her financially and you care about her, and she wants a better job. She wants to make more money. She doesn't want to not have a good job. But that just adds to the stress and tension on a relationship, and it can just like come out of nowhere. Like somebody just loses their job and then all of a sudden there's all of this pressure, and you just have to hope that you have the foundation in your relationship to be able to sustain that. Anyways, thanks for writing in. I apologize for not catching the first email. Sometimes if you send me an update, I'm able to catch it and then go back and see your first email. But I'm sorry that you guys broke up, and I'm wishing the best to both of you. All right, here's the next subscriber email. I'm 19 and I have a girl best friend, and she's all I can think about. We've been friends for like 9 years, but she's had 2 different relationships while we've been friends. Her first relationship was with one of my best friends to this day, who I had set her up with. They ended up breaking up after a year and a half-ish, and she was kind of in a rough place, so she would call me almost every night, and I helped her through that breakup. That made us way closer, but I was hesitant to see her because she dated my very best friend, so I didn't really try anything and just let her say all of her problems to me. Senior year of high school, she had a new boyfriend, but prom was coming around and her boyfriend had graduated and couldn't go with her. She didn't hesitate to ask me instead, after her boyfriend had said it was okay because he knew how close we were. The day of prom, it was nonstop flirting, I think. We didn't slow dance or anything because I wanted to respect her boundaries, but dinner and hanging out after the dance was really special. I know that she would be the last person to ever cheat on her boyfriend, but that night felt really off. She's kind of always acted like this, and I can't tell if she has a nice, flirty personality she uses with everyone, or if she's truly flirting with me. But I couldn't take that risk. She ended up breaking up with her boyfriend too, and I helped her through that breakup as well. And ever since, we've been talking more and more. I know I'm the only guy she talks to constantly right now, but it feels like a friend thing. And I kind of sort of want to change that. I really value our friendship, and she's a super sweet girl, but I'm getting a lot of weird signals from her, and I'm kind of stuck. She's moving in February, so I would need to act sort of fast, but I don't know how she really feels. I mean, if she's like moving far away soon, maybe we got to be realistic about this, and and maybe just not do anything about it, maybe keep it as friends for now. And then maybe down the line, things could change. But it's crazy, man. You are not alone in this. I get this type of email super frequently. It's like 1 out of every 15 to 20 emails is about a guy having a female best friend that he has a crush on. And listen, the fellas have been struggling with the girl best friend predicament for all of time. And girls always see this coming too. Like, we're not sly at all. And to be honest, I've been avoiding the emails like this because I don't have an answer. Like, I wish I had any real advice at all or suggestions, but I'm not enlightened enough to answer this question. I think if you really like her, you can tell her, but you have to be prepared for the relationship as you know it to change. Like, you have to be willing to accept her answer if she says no, and if she needs space, then you need to be willing to give her that space. But I agree. I think holding in your feelings isn't great, and you're just going to get jealous when she starts dating somebody else. But I don't know, speaking for myself here, I like to keep things as uncomplicated as possible for myself. And so my female friends are my female friends, and I don't cross that boundary. There have definitely been times in the past where that line has been blurry, and it just creates so much drama that is, it's just unnecessary and overcomplicates everything. Who knows though, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You could tell her how you feel and she could feel the same way. Who knows? How's that for absolutely no take at all? Giving you both sides. I hope you didn't come to this channel for rock solid advice and takes. You came to the wrong place, bucko. So they added copper golems to the game, and I have some chests that desperately need reorganizing. I think it's amazing that they added something that will organize your chests. It feels like Mojang is just dropping content for me right now. I feel seen. Yeah, this area right here is just a nightmare of disorganization. This is just where I dump all of my crap. I don't think the golems mess with shulker boxes, but it would be nice to take some stuff out of them and have it categorized. Alright, so it turns out that I actually just have no idea how copper golems work, and I'm not close to figuring it out. I mean, this is insanity. I decided not to read the wiki on these guys before I started this, and that was just a terrible mistake. This is just 10 times worse now. Okay, this subscriber titled their email, "I'm struggling to connect." You know what? We're just leaning into the first year of college theme that we have going on in this video. I'm a freshman, female, 18, in college, and honestly, I'm struggling right now. The academic side isn't the issue, it's the social side. I haven't made a single meaningful connection since I got here, and it's really starting to get me. I try to push myself to get out there, but it's hard. I'm not the best at socializing, and I know it's not easy for everyone, but it feels like I'm just invisible sometimes. I hear a lot of put yourself out there, and the right people will come along, but it feels so discouraging when I see other people already finding their groups and getting into relationships. I'm just so lonely. It's tough because I do enjoy small interactions I get, but it's like no one seems genuinely interested in getting to know me. It leaves me feeling really isolated. I've always had a lot of internal struggles, and it's hard to even be around groups of people without dissociating. It's overwhelming, and lately I've noticed that it's affecting my mental health more than I'd realized. I'm having a harder time focusing at school, and I've started to feel like I'm just not myself anymore. Like I'm barely smiling these days. The negative thoughts just keep circling my head. One of my classmates told me that I seem content with just being alone. And I guess that's the vibe I give off. She even said I had a resting sad face. It kind of crushed me because I really don't want to come across as unapproachable. Yeah, I enjoy my alone time, but I can't stand being alone all the time. It's like I'm stuck between two worlds. My roommate is great and invites me to hang out with her and her friends, but I usually end up turning it down. I feel like I'm just tagging along out of pity. And I can't shake the feeling that I'll just be the quiet one who doesn't really fit in. Sorry for the ramble, just needed to get this off my chest. Unfortunately, all the cliches like put yourself out there are kind of true in this case. You have to relearn how to make new friends when you go into a new place like college. And I'm sorry you've been having a sucky time of it. The best thing that I can say here is that you just have to be willing to say yes to a lot of stuff. Like when your roommate is going out with their friends and they invite you, you should say yes. And, it might be a little bit weird and awkward for you because you don't totally know them, but you can develop a better relationship with them, or you can meet people while you're out with them and find your people that way. I am sympathetic though. I do remember what it was like to be new in school and just want desperately to have a group of friends. The first party that I went to with the one friend I had at the time, I nearly had a panic attack and just had to leave because I was just so overwhelmed. There were people everywhere and I didn't know anybody. I was like, I'm not meant to be here, and then just left. The people that will be your friends, they're there. Trust me, they're at that school. You just have to find them. It'll take some time. Unfortunately, you do have to get a little bit out of your comfort zone to go try some new things, but you'll find them. Trust. Also, whoever said you have a resting sad face is not the vibe. That's just a mean thing to say to someone. Anyways, thanks for the email. You're gonna be all right. Let's read another one. All right, this subscriber says, "Being a lesbian is so tiresome. I'm a 20-year-old female, and back in April, I went on a Hinge date with this girl, 19, female. Back then, I would go on quite a few Hinge dates to try and get myself more comfortable with talking to new people. Unexpectedly, we hit it off so well, and we have the same niche hobbies and interests. She was one of the first people in so long that I felt just got me, and we would have great times together. The problem was that she was on exchange from the States in London. I go to university in London, and am from somewhere else quite far away. I kept seeing her because I kept telling myself that she was only there for a few months or so anyways, and I doubt I would fall for her so hard in that short period of time. However, I was very wrong. We would see each other maybe once every 2 weeks or so, because she was traveling quite a bit. But then during her last 3 weeks in London, we were hanging out every week, for around 3 days straight every time. We would have sleepovers, and we had sex, which was my first time, and when she left, I was really sad about it. I gave her a note before she left that basically said that I appreciate her, and I really liked her, and wished that we had more time together. I thought that would be it after that. We kept in touch for a few months after that, just friendly conversation here and there over text. But then I realized that I have free will and have the time and money and savings from jobs that I do throughout the year to take a trip to her home city, coincidentally, a city that I've been wanting to go to for a while. I asked her if she would be around during the time that I planned to come and if she would want to see me during that time, and she said yes. The trip out there was amazing. She spent every other day of that trip with me, and I had such a great time. I was kind of hoping the trip would have showed me that I truly built her up in my mind, but it showed me the exact opposite and left me just wanting her more. At the end of that trip, I gave her another note that said that I had a great time and that I'd miss her because things were just so easy with her. She responded in a message later that day and said that she feels the exact same way and that the timing of our relationship was unfortunate and that she'll always have interest in me. It's been about a month since that trip, and I've been trying not to message her because I want to move on, because that makes the most sense. However, I'm still so hung up on her. We've talked maybe 3 times since, but only short conversations, and I don't know what to do. I'm unsure if I should message her and tell her how I feel and ask if she feels the same way. And if she does feel the same way, ask her if we should date for real, even though it'll be long distance. Or should I just sit in the discomfort and get over her? But I really don't want to do that last option. A part of me also feels selfish for bringing up my feelings to her, as she might have moved on already. For context, it really logistically does not make sense in the slightest for us to be together. I go to university in London, I've got 1 year left, and I want to do a master's in the US. However, if I do that, afterwards I have to go back to my home country for 5 years straight due to the scholarship that I have, and if I don't do my master's, I have to go back to my home country for 3 years straight anyways. It just logistically makes no sense, but I'm still so hung up over it, and I just don't know what to do. I'm kind of torn about what to say here, and I think you kind of might get different answers from different people. I tend to be kind of a realist with this stuff. Like if I were in your shoes, I'd also be trying to move on, and I would just be happy to have had some great experiences with a cool person. I've said this before, but sometimes you meet a really great person, but the timing just isn't right. But I don't know, like that's just me, and you're young, and sometimes it's okay to just send it and tell someone how you feel. And it may not work out, and if it does, it would be long distance, which would be tough and might suck. But I guess if you feel like the distance won't be an issue and you really can't stop thinking about her, then tell her how you feel and see if she feels the same way. I've done distance. It's not great, but you can make it work. At the very least, I think it's okay to stay in touch with her. Sending her a message every once in a while and catching up wouldn't be so bad. And who knows if you're ever going to be in the same place, like living in the same place at the same time, you might be able to pick up where you left off. But if you do decide that the no contact route is better and you just want to move on with your life and get over her, I think that's totally reasonable. And it's going to suck for a bit. Getting over somebody just takes time, unfortunately. Little by little, you'll be able to move on. But thanks for emailing in. Let me know what you decide to do. All right, so I was trying out that overgrown mossy look on the aqueduct, and I just am not really feeling it right now. I'm feeling a little iffy on it. I don't know. I feel like I've kind of hit the wall on it, and I might need to come back to the aqueduct later and work on it. But I really like this field that I made a while ago with these like kind of rough looking walls. And I think some farmland might look cool underneath the aqueduct. So that's what I'm going to work on for now while I read the rest of these stories. All right, this subscriber writes, my coworker got mad at me for not driving her home. Am I the asshole? I didn't want to drive my coworker home. She's a year older than me, and I had just gotten my driver's license a little bit ago and had started driving myself to and from work. My coworker and I were cool with each other at the time, and I got to know this person outside of work. She was a little bit strange, but hey, you know, aren't we all? Anyways, I was closing down the restaurant with her, and she had asked me to drive her home that night. I'd said, do you not have your license yet? She'd given me excuses on why she didn't want to get her license, and I understood that. Driving can be scary sometimes. So I drove her home after work that night, thinking nothing of it, and she said thank you. The next shift we worked together, she asked me again. Now, this sounds petty from me, but I really just didn't want to take her home that night. So I made up a lie and said I had plans. She said okay, and then we continued working, and she got a ride home from her mom. The next day I had off and she didn't. She then sent me some passive-aggressive messages on Instagram complaining about how I wasn't doing my job, and then made an unfunny joke about how I wasn't going to get a promotion. I had made a slight mistake on not refilling one of our cleaning stations, but it was minor. This really hurt my feelings at the time and made me feel terrible. She's never apologized for this incident and kinda acted like nothing happened. Is her reaction reasonable, or was I overly harsh in this situation? Yeah, dude, you're fine. It's not your job to drive her home. If she gets weird and petty about it, it's not your problem. And it's not like you said that you would never drive her home again. You just didn't want to drive her home that night. It's fine. I worked at a diner when I was in high school, and my one coworker absolutely hated me. She was like 5 years older than me, and she still hated me. She was just like a grown adult, just hating on a high schooler. It sucked. It made my job so much harder. But like, you're there to make money. You don't need to be friends with your coworkers. It's a lot better if you are, but if one of them doesn't like you, that's normal. It happens. Just get your money and go home. But yeah, you're not the asshole here. Hopefully she stops sending you passive-aggressive messages on Instagram. That's doing too much. Okay, let's read another story. Okay, I don't know where I'm going to put this in the video because I was literally just about to finish recording, but I just got a final update from the guy who earlier in this video broke up with his girlfriend because she couldn't support herself and he didn't want to financially support her anymore. And it doesn't feel right to leave it out of this video, so I'm just going to read through it really quick. My man, your timing is impeccable on this email. You just snuck this in. Here's what he wrote. Final update, I promise. After I broke up with her and she had no reaction, I got kind of upset, to be honest. I talked to her and asked stuff like, why didn't you have a reaction? Or, did you want me to break up with you? Stuff like that. Every time I asked her something like that, she would throw the question back at me and kind of refused to answer. Eventually, she more or less told me that she had an idea that this was coming and that she fell out of love with me a while ago. She didn't break up with me and instead waited for months for me to do it. Around the time she started to lose feelings for me, she caught feelings for one of her coworkers. I didn't find out about this until a few hours before she left my apartment. She would hang out with her coworker a lot and even brought her to my apartment against my wishes. I broke up with her on Saturday, but she didn't leave until Tuesday. Pretty much the entire time she was there, she was on the phone with her friends and family. They all took her side, and she was laughing with them about how embarrassing they thought this was for me. Finally, come Tuesday, she said that she has a friend that actually wants her to come and live with her. The problem was, this friend wanted $150 for it. Long story short, I gave her friend the money just so I could get her out of my life. On her way out, I told her that I hope you treat her, the coworker, better than you treated me. She said, I will treat her so well, she loves me, and I always treat girls right. It's Thursday now, and she still has 2 big garbage bags of her stuff in my apartment. I'm waiting until Sunday for her to have someone come pick them up. Hopefully she does so I can just move on with my life. I'm so sorry, man. This sucks. Breakups suck. And frankly, it's just really unfair and cruel to you that she fell out of love with you months ago and waited for you to break up with her. That just feels like she was taking advantage of you, and that's shitty, and I'm sorry. But the good news is now you get to move on, and I'm sure that things are going to get better for you. That one was kind of a bummer to end on, so I've got a positive one here to read, or at least a more uplifting story to read really quick here. This subscriber titled their email, I finally feel like I belong. I'm 16 years old and I've always kind of struggled with making friends. I'm autistic and the stereotypical smart kid in class. And usually that's enough for my schoolmates to pick on me. Throughout comprehensive school, I made a couple good friends, but most of the people I got along with weren't really my friends. I often misinterpreted how others felt about me, and since I was so starved for genuine friendships, I was very overbearing for the people at school who were nice to me. I remember one day my classmate, who I considered one of my closest friends, admitted that she constantly made excuses to not hang out with me because she didn't want me to feel bad. She meant well, and her intention was never to purposefully deceive me, but that was kind of when I realized that most of my friends were just people who put up with me. Since then, I've made a couple actual friends here and there, but there's always been this feeling in the back of my mind that no matter how hard I try, I won't find real friends. I was never bullied in the stereotypical way. I was often just the extra friend and the one who was just kind of there. Some people were outright mean, especially a group of boys who hated anyone who wasn't cis and straight. All this is to say that I haven't really had any friends offline and especially in school. I was probably annoying, but sometimes all I wanted to do was talk about school or my niche interests. I always tried to relate to my classmates when discussing school, but they would get angry at me because I was, quote, boasting about my good grades. I kind of didn't realize that if you're good enough, you're just not supposed to share your grades at all. I often felt like academic subjects were the only thing I was good at, so being the smart kid kind of became my personality. I would try to pretend that all the snide remarks and talking behind my back weren't hurtful, but that was more or less how I got through comprehensive school. Now I'm 16 and I just started high school. I'd applied to one of the most respected high schools in my country and had the GPA to get in. I thought maybe that I'd find other smart kids who would understand me better. They admitted me to the school and I was happy to meet more people like me, but I was still nervous that I would never fit in with the others. On the first day of school, we were introduced to our class and I sat next to a girl who I thought looked nice and we started chatting. She wasn't hostile at all and genuinely seemed to want to talk to me. I then gradually started to talk more and more to my classmates, and pretty much everyone in my class was super nice to me. Being a nerd isn't a bad thing here. I can still be very active in class and ask a ton of questions, but nobody picks on me for it. I have classmates now that will actually sit with me in the cafeteria during lunch and wait for me when we're done. My classmates tell me that they appreciate how honest I am and that they love how I always have something to say. Those are all things that I've gotten bullied for in the past, and seeing people genuinely accept me for who I am has made me so happy. They also got me a card for my birthday and got almost the entire class to sign it, without me even telling them it was my birthday even once. I feel like I can finally be myself in school and not be judged for it. And I love my new class so much. I'm mostly writing this because I want to share this, and also share a message to other kids like me. To all the weird kids, the teacher's pets, and neurodivergent kids, you'll find your place in the world, and people will accept you for who you are. It might take a while, even 10 years of school like it did for me, but there's always someone who will appreciate you as you are. I don't have much to say about this story, I just really like the way that you finished that out. I couldn't agree more, sometimes it just takes time to find your people. I'm thrilled for you, and it sounds like you're genuinely happy to be in the place that you're in life. Also, you said that you were Finnish, that you're from Finland, which I think is so cool. Not to lump you in with like the Norway and Sweden and those other countries around there, but that like area of the world is just always a place that I've wanted to go visit. Seems really cool. All right, that's all the subscriber stories in Minecraft I got for you today. Here's the field and the aqueduct. Yeah, I definitely like it. I think it came out well. It's for sure not done. I kind of hit a roadblock with what to do with the aqueduct next. So if you have any ideas, let me know, but I think I'll finish it up in another video. But I mean, look at this. It actually does look really cool from a distance, and I think it does bring the area together a little bit. But okay, I'm tired of hearing myself talk, and I'm desperately late on uploading this video, so bye.